How you doing? My name is Prince Paul. I am a producer, DJ. I produce De La Soul, Handsome Boy Modeling School, Grave Diggers, Chris Rock, Big Daddy Kane, Queen Latifah, Slick Rick, etc., etc., etc. Well, you know, the weird thing, when I started, it wasn't even defined as hip hop. I guess 78 it was for me, maybe 77. I was 10 years old. So it was just like DJing and somebody with a mic and an echo chamber, you know what I'm saying, and playing music you never heard before over big speakers. So it wasn't really defined, you know, and at that time it was just the excitement of hearing certain songs that you couldn't hear on the radio, but you had to, like, well, see, I was young, ride your bike to the park or ride your bike certain places or travel certain areas to hear certain DJs and MCs on the mic. And, you know, it was just exploring and finding new music. So it wasn't until later on that, you know, I realized that it's actually has a name, you know what I'm saying? I guess until records started to be made, you know. I remember in Long Island specifically watching DJs have their records set up. And I remember I was on my bicycle and I would literally sit in front of the DJ for hours and watch exactly what he was doing. And all their records back then, they used to cover them up so you never knew what the labels were, what the songs were. But DJs were kind of stupid because they left the covers up in the back in the crates. So I would just look, write it down. And that's initially how I got my collection. But I remember just watching them like, oh man, this is so cool. And probably one of the early records I remember them playing was Cerrone Look for Love was big. I mean, as far as like breaks go, man, Karen Young Hot Shot, that was maybe like a year later. Cameo, It's Serious, like songs like you just, I'm probably mentioning, kids are like, I don't know what that is, but those were cool block party records back then. Turntables my first set was makeshift because it was a component set that my family had that was broken, that had the turntable attached to it. That part of it was broke, but the receiver part worked because it had a receiver. I don't know if kids would really know what it is, what it looks like, but it would be a turntable with a receiver, which is your radio and your amp, and an 8-track all stuck into one piece of equipment. So what I did was I got an old turntable that my mom had, and I put it, there was an auxiliary. This is very technical, ladies and gentlemen. There was an auxiliary. And I plugged one turntable into the left, and I had a turntable I got for Christmas that I asked for. It was a Lafayette that was a piece of garbage. And I plugged it into the right, and I used the balance as a mixer. And I put it in mono. If you follow what I am, just draw a diagram and you'll get what I'm saying. But anyway, that's how I put it all together initially. There was no getting my name out there. When I started, I was a kid, so my name for years was Sucker DJ, Duck Kid, because Duck was a popular slang back then, because all the kids were older, and I was a kid. So the respect level was minimal until I got into the 8th grade. I battled this kid who was in high school. He was I'd been a senior or something. I battled him, kind of unbeknownst to me, battled him at a big community center we had in Long Island called the Ace Community Center. And that when I seen the kids go, because all the years of practicing on my beat up equipment and actually get on some good equipment made me that much better. And when I got back in school the next day, I remember kids was like, the math teacher was like, yo, Paul, I heard you battle Alfie at the center and you beat him. I'm like, what? It got all the way to the teacher? And that's when, at least not owning, but kind of getting my name in Long Island, specifically Amityville, made me that dude, like territorially. So that's when things started to break for me. And then meeting Stetsasonic in Brooklyn, that just took it to the next level. My mom was all for it, but the thing is, you understand, I never really took it serious as a career, even when I had a career starting. And Stetsasonic, to me, I didn't know what was going on even when I joined the group. I remember that, you know, it was cool being a part of the group. I was a DJ. But I remember they said, yo, we're going to make a demo, and we just got a deal. Initially, Stetsasonic had to deal with Sugar Hill Records. We never signed a contract or something like that, never came out. But they were talking about making demos. I didn't know what a demo was. You know what I'm saying? I was just fun DJing for behind MCs. So that was, it was all new to me. And when we did strike a deal with Tommy Boy and made records, I was in high school. and I was just going to college. And so my focus was going to college and getting a degree. The music was secondary. The music was like, I'm not secondary in my heart, but secondary in the fact of this is not a viable source of income or career, because at that time, who had a career in it? You know what I'm saying? Run DMC, Fat Boys, you know, they were a few years in. It wasn't like 10 years later, you know, so I know I didn't know what to expect of it. So my thing was, I'm going to go to school and, you know, just have fun with the music. But, but my mom supported me. One of my brothers told me I should quit because Mr. Magic got thrown off of, was off of WBLS at the time. He's like, you see, it's a fad, it's falling off, and da-da-da. Later on in life, when I made enough money, I gave him a car, just to remind him that he was, that he was right, I should have gave up. I've always kind of just made the music I wanted to make, as opposed to having the environment kind of tell me what to make. You know what I'm saying? Like, so, you know, if everybody's making hip house, I make a joke of a hip house record, but I'm not doing that. If everybody's making, you know, R&B, hip hop, and it's popular, they're doing that. I've always made the music that I've wanted to make, and I've been very fortunate to have it received because, you know, for a label or anybody, that's not good business. They want something that they'll know will work. Here comes Paul making 3 Feet High and Rise, and nobody knows this was gonna happen. The Gravediggers, you don't know what's gonna happen. Handsome Boy knows what's gonna happen. You know, Psychoanalysis, Prince Among Thieves, those are records that haven't been tested. Nobody's made them before. So to actually be successful walking my own walk is, to me, I don't know how I did it. You know what I'm saying? I'm amazed. I mean, as far as context in a hip-hop record, I haven't heard any skits, nor did I call it skits when I made it. Like me and De La, we would call them bug-out pieces. It was just little things we put in between the songs. I mean, the first example of a bug-out piece would be on probably Plug Tunin album, a single. There was a little piece that we had of just us acting silly. I think it's on the end of the B-side. And for me, all I wanted to do was find a way just to connect the album together and make people know who the group was as far as De La Soul, because the record was all over the place as far as like, okay, nobody's ever heard this before, it's weird. I want people to know everybody's name, who's involved, and what better way to do that than a game show. So I just made it up in my head. And listening to enough kids' records gave me an idea to go, okay, and Cheech and Chong and, you know, things like that gave me an idea to structure it a certain way. And I don't know, it's nice that people see me for kind of making the skits and stuff, but when I hear skits on albums now, I just want to pull my hair out. You know, it's a little insane. It's too much. I just want to hear the music. You know, I think the most rewarding experience with all the groups, I would say, especially with De La and Gravediggers, I would say especially with them, is to see them be able to stand on their own and make an income to take care of their families and become their own people. I mean, to me, you know, it sounds cheesy, but it feels good when you're able to, you know, help feed somebody, feed their family. You know what I'm saying? You give to them and they take it to another level. Kids go to private schools and, you know, from wherever you were at in life, and you do better. So, I mean, to see guys like that do well, and especially Poetic, man, because, I mean, God rest his soul, you know, he didn't have it that great, but to have the ability to take him around the world for Gravediggers and make records and take pictures, and that being part of his life before he passed, to me is a big deal. Being able to retire my mom, you know what I'm saying? And she worked really hard, and you hear this in a lot of black families. Oh, my mom worked, and, you know, but, you know, my dad died when I was young, when I was 9. So, you know, it wasn't easy. So to see, you know, me work really hard and give her a chance for her not to work that hard, and, you know, from the point that I started doing well enough to take care of her to the day she died, to me was like the best thing ever. You know, I bought her a house. I've never seen my mom cry in happiness. She was like, oh, she was all happy. Here, Mom, here's money, go furnish the house. Bought a car, you know, all the things people always say they want to do for their mom when I'm making them buy you a house. I actually did that and took care of her. And, you know, that to me, that was a big deal, you know, and taking care of my kids. My kids got it easy, man. I'm to the point where I'm jealous. I'm like, man, I wish I had it like that when I was a kid. If people like Prince Paul And especially for my music, it means they like me because it's the music that I made based upon who I am. It's not a fugazi style of music made upon somebody else's feelings or, you know, I want to get crunked up or turned up in the club. You know, that's somebody else's vibe. If you like what I made, that means you like me because all my records are personal, I should say. They're from me, you know what I'm saying? If I'm sad, I make a sad record. Happy, happy record. Stupid, stupid record. And so embodies all my personality. So, you know, to me, that's what I like people to be left with, you know.